So we're checking Luke every half hour, every hour, the baby obviously, and ourselves. So we're lucky so far that we haven't had any issues crop up, and we're trying to keep it that way.
And so, what was that day like for you guys to, have a totally normal day after weeks of quarantining, and then just suddenly that big spike?
It was like terrifying. It was probably one of the worst days of my whole life.
I think just because it happened so quickly. Luke had a fever He had a fever throughout the day, and we were treating it and trying to bring it down a little bit. And then within a half hour, like Amanda said, it spiked up over 106. So when that happened, we immediately stripped him down, put him in a cool bath, and got a cold washcloth on his forehead.
One of us ran and got the Motrin, and we were on the phone with the pediatrician right away.
Yeah, and he was screaming because he hated it. He was shivering.
He was shaking all over.
He was burning up, but we knew we had to do something quickly to try and get it down before we could get him to the hospital. So then Amanda, put him in the car. We got him dressed, put him in the car, and then took him straight to the hospital.
Cookie, give that to me. I think, too, a lot of people will be like, 106.5, it wasn't that. It couldn't have been that high. I've never seen it that high. And I'm like, no, I checked it 10 times. We have 2 different thermometers, and I checked it with both thermometers. I was like, gun me, and I was 97 point something, and he was 98 point something, and then Luke was 106 again, and I'm like, oh my gosh, he really is 106.
Here.
And I'm like, I can feel it, and he just,
thank you.
Take his clothes off right now,
come here, you want to say hi?
Get the tub running, and then, we just put a shirt and pants on him, and I threw his favorite snacks, and I'm like, what if he doesn't want to drink water there? So I grabbed his water cup, made sure he had, he has a blanket, we call this baby, and his binky, and I'm grabbing an extra pair of pajamas, because I'm just trying to think of all the things real quick, throw them in the bag, and go, and then it was probably 15 minutes, and I was between when we took his temp and when we were on the way to the hospital, and I called the hospital, let them know that we were on the way, and but it was still frustrating too, because I was trying to keep him awake, and he was incoherent. He was not responding to me in the car, and the hospital was great though. They gave him fluids right away.
Put him on an IV?
Put him on an IV right away. They did ice packs in his armpits, and because they still read him even with a rectal temp at 105, and
were they shocked to see that number?
So they were kind of shocked at first that it was so high. I was standing in line because everyone has to stand 6 feet apart. And I pulled around, and I'm like, my son he has a 106 fever. And they're like, okay, we're going to open the gate for you, because, you can't just walk into the hospital anymore. So they opened the gate to the parking lot, and I parked, and I'm like, and it's just me because he couldn't come with me. So I, held him, and I ran basically through the doors, and I had to go through security. And then I'm standing at reception, and there's 4 people standing behind, and I said, I really have an emergency, he has a 106 temp, and he's just laying on me, and they're like, okay, go over by those doors, and they got me back right away into a room, and immediately started doing what they needed to do to get his temp down.
Yeah, you knew at that moment that this couldn't wait, and
so then but they were shocked because I gave him Motrin half an hour or 45 minutes ago, and it was still 105. And then they gave him a Tylenol suppository, and in an hour it came back and it was 104.5 still. And they're like, "This is crazy. We're gonna test him for flu A and B, strep, RSV." He didn't have any of those, and so then about 6 hours that we were there, it still wasn't down. And so at that point, they're like, we're going to swab them for COVID. Because we haven't, these temps are what we've seen with that.
Yeah, the doctors told us that, with that temperature, any longer at that before bringing him into the hospital, and he's at much higher risk for seizure, for brain damage. So, I mean, we're lucky. There's a lot of people that are unfortunately losing loved ones, and as long as we can keep Luke healthy, we're lucky, because not everyone is in our situation.
Yeah, and before I let you go, I know you guys opted to go home, and you're still monitoring the fever, and you had actually a very good successful story so far. It's more than what we're really seeing these days with the climbing numbers and the death toll really rising. Is there anything that you could say to other parents who are really worrying from what they're seeing and what they're hearing? What if this happened to them, and you acted so quickly and were able to get back home within a day or so? What would you say to other people from your experience?
I would just say, you definitely don't want to be around other people, because, say we had been with family the day before, and then we found out the next day he had COVID. You definitely you just don't want to be around people, because you could have it, or it could be coming up. But also, you don't need to be overly worried. I think it's basically, a lot of the doctors were saying the same thing, that it's just like a lot of viruses, where for kids it's Tylenol and Motrin rotating, and keeping an eye on the temps. If they are starting to burn up, give them, you don't need to give them a freezing cold bath, but try to cool them down with a lower temp bath, and just keep track of the temperature. But it is, in a sense, on kids, it's like a lot of other viruses, where you just have to do normal stuff at home. If you can stay home, though, you should stay home, because the hospital is just a petri dish. So we got out, I got out as soon as I could. I didn't want to be there any longer than I needed to be with him, especially because I don't know, we have to now wait 14 days to see if we have it, but
it's a little hectic.
It's all right.
And we have a sign that says, "Please don't ring the doorbell," but
it happens.
That poor guy, I wouldn't want to do his job anyways.
No, lay down.
Right.
But kind of just do the best you can, and look out for all the other illnesses, because if you get ill from the flu too, that still is another hospital bed that you don't want.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously important to stay vigilant. We thought we were doing everything that we could to prevent everything. We were washing surfaces, we were cleaning hands, we were leaving mail and packages outside in the garage, and Luke still got it. So it's obviously a pretty tough virus to fight off, and you really can only do what you can do. You can do what you can do, and you're not guaranteed to stay safe, but we do know that obviously the measures that.
But the hospital was so nice.
Yeah, I mean, everyone's been great. You just need to make sure that you're listening to what doctors and hospitals and government officials are telling us, because they know exactly what we have to do, and we just have to follow those instructions.
And so how's Luke doing with Frozen? Is he better with it?
Pardon me?
How's Luke doing with Frozen? Is he better with it?
He's good, yeah. He's
tired now.
He's tired. He's just staring at the screen.
Oh, well, thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it, and I hope that you guys stay safe and healthy, and that Luke recovers really well.
Thank you. We'll see if we can say hi. Lukey, can you say hi?
Hi, Luke.
Can you say hi?
Is it a car or is it Frozen?
What are you watching? Figure it out.
Are you watching Frozen?
Aya.
Olaf and Anna, yeah.
Elsa
and Anna.
All right. So yeah, basically, we're hoping that other parents, if they have to run across something like this, that they have a positive outcome like we've had so far. Just really important to make sure.
Doctors and nurses, they love babies, though.
They took great care of us, so we're sure that they would take care of everybody else as well.
Wonderful. Well, thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it. And take care of yourself.